In the heart of the bustling city of New York, nestled within the labyrinthian networks of subway tunnels, there existed a legend whispered among the commuters, a horror story that's circulating among skeptics and believers alike, a tale so eerie that only the bravest dared to speak of it. It revolved around a particular train car, notorious for its mysterious disappearances. When the commuters that stepped on this specific carriage, they would vanish without a trace. According to the stories, once the man in the top hat, which goes by Mr. Apricot, boarded that car, they would be gone simultaneously. Some said it was a curse, while others attributed it to something more sinister in nature. Among the skeptics was a man named Brian, a young and a no-nonsense office worker with a penchant for skepticism. Despite the warnings from his fellow co-workers and the eerie accounts from his newspaper articles and online forums, Brian scoffed at the idea from a quote-unquote haunted train car. Determined to prove the absurdity of the rumors, he embarked on a fateful journey one dreary evening. It was late night after a long shift from his job, so he decided that night he would take the train home to debunk the rumors of the haunted carriage. It was 12:30 a.m. He stood on the platform waiting for the last train for the night. The fluorescent lights gave off an ominous glow as it buzzed from the electrical surge. Suddenly, he could hear the train approaching. There was a 2-second blackout as the train reached its destination. Brian ignored the incident, preparing to board the train. As Brian stepped onto the ominous train car, a chill ran down his spine. The feeling of his stomach dropping beneath his core, with an unsettling feeling of dread that he's never experienced before. Ignoring the unsettling feeling, he took a seat and awaited the arrival of the mysterious man in the top hat, Mr. Apricot. One thing that Brian found odd was the fact that his phone appeared not to work. He rode the train a litany of times and never did it once interfere with his service. Moreover, he continued to brush off the small mishaps. Minutes turned into hours as the train rumbled through the dark tunnels. And just when Brian began to doubt the legitimacy of the tales, there was a brief blackout and then a figure emerged from the saddles of the other car, opening the door, entering the carriage. Brian looked at the man and he noticed that he fit the description from everyone's stories. He was a tall, imposing man that could easily be over 6'2", clad in a black top hat, all black Victorian attire, wearing retro steampunk glasses with black dress socks and shoes. Brian didn't take it seriously, seeing that it could be some weird individual in cosplay with no goals in life trying to frighten people. If anything, he tried to contain his laughter to himself, not wanting to be disrespectful to the top hat man. His laughter disappeared once he noticed the abnormalities of the man. His skin was a sickly pale, with black veins running from his neck to the side of his face. Even the way he sat, he was inhumanely still. He looked at it as if someone placed a mannequin in that seat. He thought to himself that the man looked terribly off as well. He also realized that he didn't even recall the train making any sorts of stops, as well as the fact that it seemed like they were stuck in a tunnel, which felt to be endless. Panic seized Brian's heart, but he fought to maintain his composure. However, when the stranger's piercing gaze met his own, a wave of terror washed over him. Desperate to escape, Brian waited until the train slowed to a halt at the next station. He was overwhelmed with joy knowing that he would meet his departure. With trembling hands, he rushed onto the platform, looking back at the alleged Mr. Apricot as he watched him exit the train with an empty and emotionless stare. He sprinted up the stairs to the surface, his heart pounding in his chest. He ran to the exit door and went through it, but to his horror, he found himself back at the same train platform. Confusion turned into dread as Brian realized he was trapped in a nightmare's loop. No matter which direction he ran, he always ended back where he started, hyperventilating. Brian watched in horror as the train approached once more. As it came to a halt, the door slid open, and the dreaded figure of the top hat man, the man known as Mr. Apricot, stood before him, standing in the threshold of the commuter. Tears streamed down Brian's face as he pleaded for mercy, but the sinister stranger only smiled, a grin filled with malice and menace. The top and bottom row all displayed sharp teeth. His face, couldn't even be compared with that of a worst nightmare. With the tip of his hat, he revealed tiny horns protruding from his forehead, sending a shiver down Brian's spine. In that moment, Brian knew the truth. He was doomed to remain trapped in this hellish cycle for all eternity. Before the doors closed, the haunting figure said in a disembodied, chilling voice, "Now you believe."
No.
As the train pulled away, leaving him alone on the platform, Brian's screams echoed through the empty tunnels, unheard by anyone but the malevolent entity that had claimed him. And so, the legend of the phantom carriage lived on, a cautionary tale for those who dare to have disbelief in the darkness of the subway. Good evening, everyone. If you happen to like our content, then please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing is free. If you ever feel the need to change it, you can always do so. Make sure you hit the notification bell so that way you never miss any of our content. Now back to the video. There was a woman named Samantha that was at her most prominent moment of her life. She had a great career, supportive family and friend base, and a new luxurious apartment on a hill on the affluent side of San Francisco. She got it with her best friend Veronica. She was high on life and seemingly on her way to greatness. All until one day when her friend came home, not as herself. Veronica fell mysteriously ill. She would speak incoherently. She seemed to be in the midst of confusion. She had flu-like symptoms, etc. Samantha, as the good, kind-hearted soul she was, stayed by her friend's side until she improved. One day, Samantha returned home from work that Friday night to find Veronica missing, assuming that she had recovered. She tried to call her as well as Veronica's family to do a wellness check, but no one answered. Maybe someone in her family had taken her to treat that nasty cold, she thought. So she cooked dinner, worked out, and went to bed as any other day. On Saturday morning, as she got up to start her day, she went out and done all of her routines with nothing out of the ordinary other than police and fire trucks being busy for that whole day. However, making it home late afternoon, Samantha stopped in her tracks from checking her work email, noticing a disturbing news broadcast concerning a vital virus. She was startled out of her distraction by noises coming from Veronica's room. Surprised that her friend is back, she called out to her friend but was left with no response. She slowly walked over to the door again, calling out to her again, but it was nothing. Sheepishly, she opened the door and was met with a disturbing scene. Blood-stained walls, a half-eaten body lay lifeless on a bed, and Veronica huddled in the far end of the bedroom in the corner, feasting on what appears to be human flesh. Veronica slowly turns around as she's startled by Samantha's "oh my god" and a blood-curdling scream. Samantha then witnesses the inhumane transformation of her best friend. Veronica then gives off this unearthly bellowing growl and then lunges at Samantha. Samantha snaps out of the state of shock and runs for the door with her former friend in tow. Samantha manages to get downstairs and get through the lobby door, placing a bar between the door handles, while Veronica smashes her hand through the glass panel, managing to get a handful of Sam's hair. As a last resort, Samantha ended up ripping out of Veronica's grasp, losing some of her locks in the process. She ran, trying to escape from Veronica, who ended up breaking the door down to pursue her meal. She ran past her car knowing that she wouldn't make it in time, so she instead headed to make it down the hill. She looks back in horror as Veronica managed to get outside of the entrance in pursuit of Samantha. She then trips over a tree root and falls, tumbling down the steep hill, knocking Samantha out cold after hitting her head on a stone once she reached the bottom. When she awoke, the apartment was ablaze and chaos enveloped within the vicinity. She put it in first gear and she frantically drove away to get away from the madness. As she drove, Samantha encountered a man pleading for help, running into the road, flailing his arms in the air, causing her to abruptly stop. Sam watches in the headlights as the man begged for assistance. Seconds later, she witnessed a blur plunge into the man, biting and gnawing on him as he screamed in unbridled pain. Distracted by the sight, Samantha comes to her senses when a large bang on the passenger side is heard. She looks over and is met with a man covered in blood, growling, trying to get at her. She fled the scene, racing to get away from the assailant. As she drove on the highway, Samantha grieved over the unfolding apocalypse, the city engulfed in smoke and flames. The once luxurious life now transformed into a nightmare of survival against a viral outbreak, turning people into monstrous beings. The road ahead is uncertain, and Samantha is left grappling with the harsh reality of a world on the brink of collapse. The once thriving city now lays in ruins, and Samantha's journey becomes a quest for survival in a world overrun by the undead. As she drives into the unknown, she leaves behind the city's devastation in a rearview mirror. Good evening, everyone. This is Yuri K, and this is the end of the video. Please leave a comment and let us know your opinions on the matter. If you happen to like this content, please check out our other videos. Make sure you like and share amongst your friends and family to help our community grow. You happen to be new to this channel? Please make sure you subscribe. It's free and you can always change it in the future. You have some terrifying story suggestions? If so, make sure that you send it to my email, fearofthedarkstories@gmail.com, and I'll feature it in a future segment. But you guys stay safe out there, and remember to always be afraid of the dark.